Hey guys, Yuliya here. So today I am gardening in the front yard, and what I wanted to show you is this warm color flower bed. Now, warm colors are not my favorite in the garden, but as a landscape designer, I should be able to love and appreciate and combine all sorts of colors if a client requires. In this case, the client is Michael, and Michael just adores warm color flowers, and he would buy them over the years. And what I ended up doing is planting them in the main border where they end up clashing with all of my lovely purples and pinks and blues. So what I decided to do is to create this separate bed for all of the warm colors. And that's what you can do in design. You can kind of combine alike colors together, so this way they don't clash and the whole composition looks more harmonious. Also, this bed is a no-dig bed that is almost 12 months old. So what I'm going to show you next, I'm just going to go through all of the flowers that I have here and kind of show you the issues that I'm starting to have with this bed right now that need to be addressed. So I will start from here, and I hope it's not too washed out because it's middle of the day. But the main plant in this bed is this royal purple smoke bush, which is absolutely a beautiful shrub / tree. And I do have a number of dahlias here, all in warm colors. Some are blooming, some are still yet to bloom. This is a Coreopsis Zagreb, which is a native Coreopsis and a big pollinator attractor. Now, this feathery looking thing here is Amsonia, which is one of my most favorite native plants. The feathery texture of it is just amazing, and look at the contrast with the smoke bush. Let me show you this fun little rose, which is mustard and ketchup. So this is the ketchup side, and this is the mustard side. The underneath of the petals are the mustard. It's kind of cool. And in the front I have some ornamental grasses, but I have been thinking about extending this bed and planting more flowers, because the height of the ornamental grasses and then the height of the lawn grass is just a drastic drop. I feel like I need another layer here. You know, any excuse to plant more plants will do for me. Right here I have Shasta daisies blooming, pretty much in their peak. That yellow dahlia right there is Kevin Floodlight, and it's just absolutely beautiful, large size dahlia. But over here, I just wanted to cry a little bit. First of all, these ornamental poppies that I started winter sowing, they're really taking their time. And right here, I have my blue grama grass, which I also started winter sowing, and they're kind of hard to grow. They're hard to find in the nurseries. And last week, my lawn guy thought that there were weeds, and he weed whacked half of them. Can you imagine? I was so disappointed. But I mean, I can totally understand why somebody would think it's a weed. But it's a beautiful native grass. Whatever is left of it will fill in here nicely. There's more Amsonia view. I mean, just look at this. Isn't it so pretty? There is the Miscanthus grass. This rose right here is Benjamin Britten, which I replanted from the main border early in the spring, and I was certain it was going to die. It looked dead for a long time, but look at this. It revived, and it looks like it has buds and it's going to bloom. I am going to make a video about how to replant older plants like this and large scale plants like this hydrangea, which I also replanted in the spring. And look at that, it's doing great. It has buds, it has blooms. You can do it, guys. Don't be afraid to replant plants in your garden. It just has to be done the right time and the right way. There's more Miscanthus grass here, and there's some Cleomes that made their way from the main border. And my dahlias are drooping right now because they always droop after the warmest part of the day. And I did have someone ask me on Instagram, why my dahlia is drooping. It is not a big problem. They're going to be just fine. They tend to droop in the hottest part of the day. This dahlia right here is Myrtle Folly, one of my most favorite dahlias. This one is new for this year. This is a star dahlia, really strong stalks. Love it. This little fun plant right here is Nicotiana Langsdorff's, and it does attract hummingbirds and other pollinators. And I love it. It's just so subtle, just so airy. Adds a lot of structure to this garden. You see how that Myrtle Folly is drooping? That's okay, perfectly normal. But what I wanted to talk about is this nasturtium, which I started from seed in the spring. And I am disappointed for a number of reasons. First of all, this is called black velvet, and it was supposed to be really dark, almost black colors, and it's not. It's more like really bright red. And secondly, it's really unkempt looking. It never looks good. It's always kind of drooping. And I know they're best grown in window boxes and containers and maybe at the edge of your raised bed in the vegetable garden. But I tried them as a bedding plant and they just don't perform well in the ground. So I'm going to pull these out and maybe replant them somewhere else, like higher up, and plant something else here. Another excuse. But what I'm going to plant here today, I'm going to show you next. So the plants I scored in the nursery are these beautiful butterfly weeds, or Asclepius tuberosa. And Asclepias are the milkweed family, and there are a number of milkweeds that grow all over North America, some on the western coast, some on the eastern coast, and some are tropical. Now in my neck of the woods, which is the eastern coast of United States in New Jersey, we pretty much grow 3 types of milkweeds. The common milkweed, or Asclepius syriaca, the swamp milkweed, Asclepius incarnata, and this one, which is Asclepius tuberosa. All of these plants are host plants for monarch butterflies, and monarch butterfly population is on decline, so I always try to promote planting milkweeds in your garden, because what these butterflies need, they really need a place to stop and breed and procreate, lay their eggs, and their caterpillars feed on milkweeds exclusively. So they're specialist butterflies. Anyway, I just imagine if every garden had just a small patch of milkweed, maybe 3 by 3 feet, that would be wonderful to create this green corridor for monarch butterflies while they migrate. Anyway, just wanted to mention that the common milkweed is a little bit too aggressive for your average size garden. It does spread by rhizomes and seeds, and it is really hard to take control of. So unless you're ready to prepare for that, or you have a very large garden, I don't recommend that you plant common milkweed. But the Asclepius incarnata and Asclepius tuberosa are very well behaved milkweeds in your garden, so you can plant them with no problem. I do have 2 patches of the swamp milkweed that is about to bloom. And the swamp milkweed is a beautiful ornamental plant, native ornamental plant with gorgeous pink flowers and the most exquisite fragrance. Now these flowers right here don't have that much fragrance, but they are huge pollinator attractors in the garden. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and plant these 3 plants in the garden, and while I plant them, I'm going to talk about what they need in the garden. So first of all milkweeds can be irritant when you touch their leaves or flowers. So definitely use gloves and wash your hands after you handle these plants. But what I'm going to do here is actually place all these 3 plants right in front of the Nicotiana. I think they're going to look really pretty. Now these plants grow to 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide, so a very nice small to medium size perennial. They are hardy to zone 3, which is super hardy. This one here, oops, just gonna crawl over there. And this one here, let's see. That looks pretty good. All right, so they're not fussy about soil. They do prefer more well-drained soil or even sandy soil. There's a weed right here. Oh, look how perfect. Oh, this is so beautiful. Now, I don't use amendments here because it was amended with the compost. And these plants really prefer poor soil. Just so pretty. All right, so these Asclepius are planted, and I love how they're fitting in with the whole warm color scheme of this flower bed. These plants are amazing. They're native, they're supporting monarch butterflies, and they're pretty. I am not a huge fan of warm colors, but I think the wilder look of them kind of makes up for the orange. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something new in this video. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I would love to stay in touch with you, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye. So this is Asclepius. I say so many times. Stop. She ruined everything. No rush, absolutely no rush. It's just the only rush is that the rain is coming in 1 hour. There is a bee sitting right on it right now. What do I do? And it just doesn't make any sense. I like that they're subtle. They're not like in your face. And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Ooh.